Picture this. The sun has dipped completely below the horizon, and we have reached that very specific late evening hour. You know the one I mean.
Oh, absolutely. That quiet time.
Right. It's the kind of quiet where the relentless buzzing rush of the day,
Hmm.
the obligations, the traffic, that endless tide of human demands has finally and completely surrendered.
It just drops away.
Yeah. You are sitting there in your living room or perhaps out on a patio, and the atmosphere is just thick with stillness. Maybe you hear the soft, rhythmic clinking of ice settling against the glass in your hand.
A tiny crystal clear sound echoing in the quiet.
Exactly. Or perhaps you catch the faint, earthy scent of smoke drifting out in the cool, dark night air, curling upwards and disappearing.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not about a solitary moment at all.
Right. It could be a shared experience.
Yeah, maybe it is the profound, quiet warmth of physical intimacy with a partner. Just lying there in the absolute, unquestioning stillness of the moment, feeling the steady rhythm of another human heart.
There's a massive amount of weight to those moments.
There is. These are the moments that hold a very specific, almost intoxicating kind of human beauty, aren't they? It's the absolute normality of indulgence, of sensory pleasure, just existing inside a physical body without asking anything more of it.
It is a deeply grounding experience, and honestly, there is a profound elegance in that simplicity. The sensory details you just described, the sharp chill of the glass against your palm, the textured coolness of the night air on your skin, the physical closeness of another person.
So visceral.
Very, and they anchor you immediately and completely to the present moment. They are entirely unapologetically human. I mean, they remind us that before we are philosophies or careers or abstract concepts, we are breathing, tactile creatures navigating a physical realm. The beauty really lies in the friction of the senses.
Right. And for a fleeting moment, everything just feels right. But here is the fascinating and honestly the heartbreaking part, because here is where that beautiful, pristine moment usually takes a dark, familiar turn.
Ah, yes, the inevitable crash.
You're sitting there, bathed in that quiet luxury, and then there it is, the sting, that sudden, completely familiar sting of internal friction.
It's like a heavy, sinking feeling.
Exactly. It creeps in right on the heels of the indulgence, almost like a shadow that was just waiting for the light to hit right. It is a whisper of guilt, and it starts asking these relentless, nagging questions.
Like, am I doing something wrong?
Yeah. Am I ruining my trajectory right now? By sitting here enjoying this, am I lowering my vibration? Is this simple, earthly human pleasure somehow disconnecting me from a higher state of being?
Should I be meditating instead? Should I be producing?
Right. It is like we fundamentally cannot just enjoy the ice melting in the glass without worrying that we are somehow failing a massive, invisible cosmic test.
Which, ironically, is a completely universal experience for anyone who has stepped onto a path of self-awareness. That whisper of guilt you're describing, that is not your intuition speaking.
No, it feels so real, though.
I know, but it's the echo of a deeply ingrained conditioning that has spanned the passage of eras. For countless generations, humanity has been taught to view earthly, physical experiences and spiritual, energetic progression as two violently opposing forces.
Like they're at war with each other.
Exactly. We are handed this narrative that life is a zero-sum game between the flesh and the spirit. The assumption is woven into the very fabric of our culture. It says if you are enjoying the physical realm too much, if you are reveling in the tastes and the textures of the earth, you must necessarily be neglecting the ethereal realm.
Wow.
We are taught that purity requires starvation of the senses.
Purity requires starvation. Man, that tension, that tug of war between enjoying our humanity and striving for this abstract concept of enlightenment, that is exactly the mission of our in-depth exploration today.
It's a crucial one to unpack.
It really is. We're going to decode the unseen architecture of reality today. We want to look squarely at how to resolve this immense, exhausting conflict between our earthly experiences and our energetic progression.
Because it shatters the whole paradigm when you look at it closely.
Yes, because, and this is the part that completely flips the script, we are going to uncover why the traditional moralization of human habits might be entirely backwards. The idea that you have to be perfectly pure, perfectly ascetic to create the reality you desire is not just a little bit wrong.
It might be the exact mechanism keeping you stuck.
Right. So we are looking at the raw mechanics of existence today. We are taking the heavy, complicated layers of human judgment and stripping them entirely away. leaving only the scaffolding of how reality actually responds to our presence.
Which is such a liberating process.
So for you listening right now, wherever you are, consider this an open invitation to just lay down those preconceived notions. Take that heavy backpack of guilt, the one filled with all the shoulds and should nots, and just set it on the floor for the duration of this conversation.
Just leave it by the door.
Exactly. We are walking straight into the actual energetic currency that shapes our lives. And to do that properly, to build this understanding from the ground up, we have to start with a concept that might ruffle a few feathers.
It usually does.
It challenges everything we are taught, but it is entirely foundational. We need to talk about the absolute impartiality of universal forces.
This is the crux of the entire paradigm shift right here. This is where we have to fundamentally separate human concepts of morality from the blind mechanics of energy.
Blind mechanics.
Yes. The underlying energy of reality, that unseen force that weaves the fabric of our existence, has absolutely nothing to do with our localized human definitions of being good or holy or righteous.
None of.
None of it. Energy is entirely devoid of morality. It does not possess a conscience. It possesses capacity. It doesn't judge your actions at all. It simply operates according to its own immutable laws.
I want to spend some time here because it is so incredibly counterintuitive to how our brains are wired. I mean, we are storytelling creatures.
We constantly anthropomorphize everything.
Yeah, we naturally want to project a human personality onto the universe. We want the cosmos to be this benevolent parent, keeping a ledger of who is nice and who is naughty. So what does it actually mean that energy is devoid of morality?
Well, think about a natural force.
Like electricity.
Perfect example. An electrical current flowing through a live wire does not possess an ethical filter.
Right.
It does not pause to evaluate the moral purity of the person reaching out to touch it.
Exactly. The current doesn't perform a background check.
No, it doesn't look at your track record. It doesn't review the vast constellation of kind deeds you performed last week.
It doesn't care about your charitable donations, your noble intentions, or the fact that you are generally a lovely person trying your best.
Not even a little bit. If you reach out and touch the live wire, the energy simply delivers a shock. The energy is neutral. The outcome is purely, undeniably based on the mechanics of contact. You complete the circuit, you experience the result.
The universe is not punishing you for touching the wire.
No, it is just fulfilling the law of conductivity.
That is such a brilliant illustration because natural forces operate on strict laws, not on shifting ethics. Let's look at gravity, which is another perfect, undeniable example of universal impartiality.
Gravity is the great equalizer.
It really is. Gravity does not suspend its rules for a saint while actively punishing a sinner. Imagine an incredibly benevolent, profoundly kind-hearted person who has spent their entire life serving others.
Right.
If that person trips near the edge of a cliff, gravity will pull them down with the exact same indifferent mathematical force as it would a person harboring immense malice in their heart. The universe, at its core energetic level, is completely blind to our moral hand-wringing.
It does not care about the drama of our ethics. It acts with sweeping, universal indifference.
Which, if we're being totally honest, is simultaneously terrifying and incredibly liberating.
How so?
Well, it's terrifying because we realize no cosmic parent is coming to save us just because we played by the rules. But it's liberating because it means the game isn't rigged against us by a judgmental deity.
That's a huge relief for a lot of people.
But here is where the trap resets itself. Because people wake up to this. They transition out of traditional, rigid religious structures. They realize the old dogma doesn't serve them, and they move into mainstream enlightenment communities or modern personal development spheres.
And they think they're free.
Exactly. They think they have escaped the dogma, but so often they aren't free at all. They have just swapped out the old religious guilt for a brand new, shiny flavor of vibrational guilt.
Oh, it is a profound and incredibly common trap. We witness this constantly. People trade the archaic fear of sin for the modern fear of a low vibration.
It's the exact same mechanism.
It is. They take the exact same structure of judgment and simply paint over it with new terminology. They start moralizing completely neutral acts all over again. Suddenly, eating a certain food or watching a certain movie or just having a passing negative emotion is viewed as an energetic crime.
Like they're constantly monitoring themselves.
Yes. Instead of a deity sitting on a cloud judging them, they believe the universe itself is constantly grading their energetic purity. They are still living entirely within a paradigm of duality, locked in a battle between light and dark, just with an updated, trendier vocabulary.
That concept of duality is central to the confusion. because the popular narrative insists that good and bad are these opposing, warring forces, like two armies fighting for control of the universe.
But that isn't the reality of energy.
Not at all.
Okay.
Good and bad are not two fundamentally different things fighting for dominance. They are merely polar expressions of the exact same energy, vibrating at different rates within our localized dimension.
Think of a thermometer.
Oh, that's good.
Hot and cold are not two warring independent forces. You don't have heat energy battling against cold energy. They are both measurements of the exact same phenomenon, which is temperature.
The underlying essence is identical.
Precisely. The absence of heat registers to our physical senses as cold, but it is all just kinetic energy at different levels of activity. In higher states of understanding, this concept of quantum interconnection reveals that everything is fundamentally one continuous fabric.
So the labels are the problem.
Yes, to label an energy strictly as good or bad is to fall victim to the illusion of separation. It's a localized human categorization, a tiny label we try to slap onto a boundless, unified energy in order to make it predictable and safe.
Right.
But the energy itself remains unified.
Okay, I have to stop you because I am anticipated the pushback from the listener, and honestly, I feel it myself a bit.
Bring it on.
If the universe is this giant, indifferent electrical grid, if it truly does not care whether we are good or bad, and if there is absolutely no cosmic scorecard, then why on earth does human suffering exist at all?
That's the big one.
Right. I mean, if the universe isn't a strict parent punishing bad behavior to teach us a lesson, what actually dictates our experience of pain? Why do terrible, heart-wrenching things happen, and why do people feel such intense, crushing agony? If it is all just neutral energy, why does it hurt so much?
That is the essential question, isn't it? If we remove the idea of cosmic punishment, what is the actual mechanism of suffering? The answer does not lie in morality. The answer lies in alignment.
Alignment.
Yes. Suffering is not a punitive measure handed down by a disappointed, watchful universe. It is the direct, mechanical, unavoidable result of being misaligned with the natural flow of universal energy.
So it's not a penalty, it's a symptom.
It is the ultimate symptom. Suffering is the friction of misidentification. It's the heat generated when you forget who you are at your core and instead adopt an artificial persona, a mask constructed from limitations and fears.
It's energetic friction.
Exactly. When you operate out of alignment with your true, expansive nature and instead move through the physical world operating under false, contracted beliefs, you create immense friction.
Let me see if I can translate this into a physical mechanism, because I think that helps visualize it. Imagine a beautifully engineered machine designed to run smoothly and endlessly.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
But somewhere along the line, someone forces a gear into the mechanism that is entirely the wrong size. It has the wrong teeth, the wrong circumference. The machine isn't angry at the gear.
No, a machine can't be angry.
Exactly. The machine isn't punishing the gear for being wrong. The terrible grinding noise, the sparks, the immense heat, and the eventual catastrophic breakdown of the system, that is just the mechanical reality of misalignment. The machine is just doing what machines do when the geometry is wrong.
That is exactly the dynamic. The friction isn't malice, it is physics. All human suffering stems from this deep, internal misidentification with the illusion of duality and separation.
We think we're separate from the whole.
You believe you are small, vulnerable, and separate from the source of all things. You install that tiny, jagged gear into the boundless machine of your consciousness, and the resulting grind is what we call anxiety, despair, and suffering.
Wow. Okay, that shifts the paradigm entirely. The pain isn't a penalty. It is immediate, impartial feedback. It is the heat generated by the friction of living out of sync with your own fundamental truth.
Yes. When you suffer, reality is simply doing you the favor of reflecting your own misalignment back to you. It is a dashboard warning light, not a judge's gavel.
Which profoundly shifts the entire conversation. We move away from fearing an external cosmic judgment, and we turn our gaze directly onto our internal landscape. Because if the universe isn't out there laying down the law and handing out sentences...
Who is?
Right, who is? And the startling, inescapable answer is, we are. We are the subconscious lawmakers.
This is the pivotal turn in our exploration today. This is where we stop observing the vast universe outside of us and begin observing the master architect residing within. The fundamental assertion here is radical, but it is totally necessary. There is no objective truth in reality. None.
Hold on. Let that statement breathe for a second, because it is massive. There's no objective truth. If there is no objective truth, what is actually out there?
There are only ideas wearing the masks of truth, wandering through the corridors of consciousness, waiting patiently for the subconscious mind to accept them. Once your subconscious accepts an idea, it clothes that idea in the fabric of physical reality. It makes it true for you.
Just ideas wearing masks?
Yeah.
I am captivated by that image. So the obvious question is, how does an idea go from being just a passing masked thought to becoming an unyielding localized law that violently dictates our everyday reality?
It's all about the imprint.
Right. How does that actual imprinting work? Because in the personal development world, we constantly hear about the power of repetition. We're told you have to stand in front of a mirror and say an affirmation an endless tide of times until your brain believes it. Repetition alone isn't the whole story, is it? It always feels so forced.
Repetition is a tool, yes, but it is actually the slower, least efficient route. It was like trying to carve a canyon with a dripping faucet.
It takes eras.
Exactly. The true instantaneous mechanic of subconscious imprinting relies on a completely different currency: emotional charge. An idea does not require a lifetime of rote repetition to become an absolute law. A singular, highly emotionally charged moment can instantly, permanently imprint a rule onto the subconscious.
Just one moment.
Just one. You have to understand that the subconscious mind does not speak English or Spanish or Mandarin. It does not understand logic. It communicates primarily and almost exclusively through the raw language of emotion.
So it is the intensity of the feeling, not the duration of the thought.
Exactly. Think about a child touching a hot stove.
Ouch.
Right. They don't need to touch the stove 1,000 times while repeating, "The stove is hot, the stove is dangerous." They touch it once. The sheer overwhelming intensity of the physical pain and the rush of fear instantly writes a permanent law in the subconscious. Do not touch the glowing metal.
It's hardwired instantly.
The emotional charge bypasses all logical filters. It kicks the door down and declares to the mind, this is a matter of survival, therefore this is absolute truth.
That makes so much sense. If an idea carries a massive weight of fear or a profound, overwhelming surge of joy, the subconscious just absorbs it whole.
It swallows it instantly. And here is the mechanism that changes everything. Once that rule is imprinted, the subconscious mind's primary function is to project it outward.
Like a movie projector.
Exactly. The mind is a projector, not a camera. It literally forces the malleable energy of reality to bend, shape, and arrange itself to reflect this newly established internal law. Your external physical world becomes an exact, undeniable mirror of your internal, emotionally charged agreements.
Okay, understanding this mechanism brings us directly to what I think is one of the most dangerous, unseen psychological traps that human beings fall into. I want to spend some real time analyzing this because it is incredibly insidious.
It hides in plain sight.
It really does. It is what we can refer to as the artificial ego boost.
Ah, yes, the tragic trap of being right.
Yes. It is the absolute tragedy of actively destroying your own life simply to prove to yourself that your dark predictions were correct. Let's walk through this carefully.
Okay, let's say someone holds a deeply imprinted, emotionally charged, negative belief. It has become a subconscious law. Maybe the belief is, my path in life is inherently harder than everyone else's. I have to bleed for every inch of success. Or maybe it is a relational belief, like, people are fundamentally untrustworthy and eventually everyone I love will betray me.
Because that specific belief is now a localized law, the subconscious mind is mandated by its own programming to prove it true. The subconscious cannot abide a contradiction between its internal law and the external reality.
It has to match.
It has to. So it goes to work. It will actively, though entirely invisibly to the conscious mind, guide that person to seek out failure or betrayal. It acts as a hyper-vigilant filter.
How does that look in practice?
It will filter out kind, trustworthy people, making them seem boring or unappealing, and it will zero in on the chaotic, unreliable individuals who possess the exact energetic signature required to confirm the bias of betrayal. This is where the trap snaps shut. Because when the failure inevitably arrives, when the business project miraculously collapses at the last second, or the romantic partner inevitably betrays them, you would think the person would just feel pure, unadulterated devastation.
But they don't.
They don't. Instead of just feeling disappointment, there is this twisted, dark, artificial surge of ego satisfaction. Deep down, beneath the tears, a part of them gets across their arms, nod their head, and whisper, I knew it. I told you so. I knew the world was like this.
They receive a physiological hit of validation derived entirely from their own self-sabotage. It is a devastating cycle. The ego, by its very nature, prefers the comfort and safety of a predictable misery over the wild, untamed uncertainty of a new joy.
Predictable misery. Wow.
It craves the validation of its own prophecies, even if those prophecies are entirely destructive to the organism. The individual becomes literally addicted to the artificial high of being right, completely blind to the terrifying fact that they are the sole architect of the very misery they are so accurately predicting.
They mistake their authorship for observation.
Precisely.
Let's ground this abstract psychology with a visceral, everyday scenario. I want anyone listening to be able to feel this in their bones, because we have all done this in one form or another. Imagine you are walking into a social gathering.
Okay.
It could be a neighborhood party, a networking event for your industry, or even just a crowded cafe. But internally, you are holding the deeply imprinted, emotionally charged belief that you are an outsider. Your localized law dictates that people naturally reject you, that you are inherently uninteresting or unwanted. You anticipate the rejection before your hand even touches the brass of the doorknob.
The law is active, so your subconscious mind immediately mobilizes to enforce that law in the physical environment.
Exactly. And it starts with your physical vessel. Without you even consciously realizing it, your entire physiology shifts to match the law. You walk into the room, and you immediately cross your arms protectively over your chest.
Closing off.
Yeah. You keep your gaze slightly lowered. Or perhaps your eyes are darting around defensively, scanning for threats rather than seeking connection. Your shoulders are tense. You physically project this thick, closed-off, prickly aura.
You are loudly broadcasting the frequency of unavailability.
Yes. And then, when someone brave enough actually approaches you and tries to strike up a conversation, your subconscious defends the law. You answer their warm questions with short, clipped, monotone sentences. You don't offer a genuine smile. You don't ask them questions in return. You create social friction.
And human beings are incredibly intuitive creatures. They are highly sensitive to energetic friction.
Right. So the person talking to you feels the coldness. They feel the wall. It is uncomfortable for them. So quite naturally and politely, they excuse themselves to get a drink or find someone easier to talk to. They give you a wide berth.
And it happens again and again.
The pattern repeats a few times, and an hour later, you leave the gathering completely alone. You walk out to your car, sit behind the wheel, and what do you say to yourself? You let out a heavy sigh and say, I knew it. I knew these people wouldn't like me. I knew I didn't belong here. You leave feeling vindicated.
It is the perfect closed loop.
You mistake your absolute, orchestrated self-sabotage for clairvoyance. You actually think you saw the future, when in stark reality, you actively, meticulously created it. You built the wall, forced people to bounce off of it, and then blamed them for not being able to walk through stone.
That networking scenario perfectly encapsulates the anatomy of the artificial ego boost. The ego feels an immense wave of relief saying, my map of the world is perfectly accurate, even though the map leads the traveler directly into a lightless swamp.
It's tragic.
You survive the perceived threat of the social gathering by actively manufacturing the rejection you feared. The subconscious successfully defended its law.
It is wild. It is truly wild how we weaponize our own minds against ourselves. So, this brings us to the inevitable crossroads. If our internal laws, these emotionally charged beliefs, can trap us so perfectly, how do we break the cycle?
We have to disrupt the broadcast.
Right. If we are walking around projecting a reality we absolutely do not want, how do we dismantle the projector and actively choose a different film?
To dismantle the old laws and successfully establish new ones, we have to move beyond just analyzing our passing thoughts. Psychology alone isn't enough. We have to dive into the actual physics of the mind. We have to understand the mechanics of frequency and reality selection.
The physics of it.
Yes. We need to look at how invisible energy stabilizes and condenses into hard physical form.
Which brings us to a really vital distinction. This is something that trips up almost everyone who starts looking into this field. We hear two specific words thrown around interchangeably all the time, as if they mean the exact same thing. Vibration and frequency.
Constantly.
Raise your vibration, change your frequency. But they are not the same thing, are they?
They are intimately related, belonging to the same family of physics, but they are fundamentally distinct in how they impact the architecture of your reality. A vibration is a momentary energy signature. It is fleeting.
Okay.
Think of it like a single, clear note played loudly on a piano in a quiet room. It strikes, it rings out, and then it fades. It is a solitary spark jumping from a fire. If you were walking down the street and you see a beautiful sunset and you feel a sudden, overwhelming burst of inspiration or a deep, poignant moment of gratitude, you have experienced a high vibration.
It hits you, but then it passes.
Your energy spiked, but it is momentary. It rises and it falls.
Okay, so a vibration is a spark, but it is not a fire. It is a weather pattern, not the climate.
Exactly. A frequency, on the other hand, is that exact energy signature repeated continuously, relentlessly over the passage of eras until it becomes a stable, immovable baseline state of being.
So it's sustained.
If a vibration is a single piano note, a frequency is the entire symphony playing consistently without pause. It is the enduring, roaring flame inside the furnace. You do not manifest an entirely new physical reality with a solitary vibration.
Because it's not enough power.
You cannot just feel grateful for 5 minutes and expect the universe to rearrange itself. You manifest reality by establishing a stable frequency.
So the frequency is the constant broadcast.
Yes. A frequency is an energetic product code. It is a barcode that matches a specific, mathematically precise reality.
I love that idea of a product code or a barcode. Let's build a cosmic analogy around this to really help visualize it. Imagine the universe not as a single linear timeline where events just happen one after another in a straight line.
Break out of the linear thinking entirely.
Instead, imagine it as an infinite, boundless tapestry of simultaneous existences. Or, to make it more industrial, think of it like an infinitely massive cosmic distribution center. This vast constellation of realities, all existing fully formed, right now, all at once.
A simultaneous matrix containing the fully realized version of every potential outcome.
Right. So within this endless cosmic distribution center, there is a reality sitting on a shelf where you are experiencing boundless, unshakable prosperity. Right next to it, on another shelf, is a reality of profound, crushing isolation. There's a reality of robust, vibrant physical health and one of constant grinding struggle.
They all exist right now.
And every single one of these realities possesses a specific, unique, vibrational blueprint, an exact energetic barcode.
And here's the beautiful impartiality of it all again. The distribution center does not have a manager who judges which package you deserve based on your moral character.
No cosmic Santa Claus.
None. It does not decide you've suffered enough and hand you the prosperity package. It operates purely on scanning technology. It simply scans your internal barcode, your sustained baseline frequency, and it mechanically delivers the reality that is an exact mathematically perfect match to what you are broadcasting.
So, if that is the mechanism, the ultimate question becomes, how do we consciously match the blueprint of the reality we actually want? If the prosperity reality has a specific barcode, how do I configure my internal state to broadcast that exact code? What is the alignment protocol?
Matching that blueprint requires the deliberate synchronization of what we can call the 4 mental attitudes. It is absolutely not enough to just consciously want something. Wanting implies lack. Your entire internal architecture must reflect the reality as if it is already possessed.
Let's break these 4 attitudes down, because each one is a vital, non-negotiable component of your energetic barcode. If one is misaligned, the barcode is unreadable.
Right. Let's go through them deliberately.
The first attitude is one we've touched on slightly, emotionally charged thoughts.
Yes. We have to clarify that the universe does not respond to the endless chatter of your passing, fleeting thoughts. Human beings have tens of thousands of thoughts a day.
The constant stream.
You can have 1,000 random thoughts a day about winning the lottery or finding perfect love. But if those thoughts carry no emotional weight, they are just static. They are empty envelopes.
They don't register.
The thoughts that actually matter, the ones that engrave themselves deeply into your frequency, are the ones carrying heavy emotional weight. Fear, intense joy, deep, unshakable conviction, profound grief.
It's the feeling.
If your conscious thoughts about money are consistently laced with the heavy, sinking emotion of anxiety or desperation, your frequency is broadcasting lack. It doesn't matter if the words in your head are, "I am rich." The universe reads the emotion of anxiety, not the vocabulary of wealth.
It's the feeling behind the thought that does the heavy lifting. The thought is the vehicle, but the emotion is the engine. Okay, that makes perfect sense. The second mental attitude in the protocol, beliefs.
Beliefs are the foundational building blocks of what is deemed possible in your localized reality. If an emotionally charged thought is a single brick, a belief is the concrete foundation upon which the entire house is built.
It sets the parameters.
If you possess a core subterranean belief that success requires agonizing, bone-crushing sacrifice, then any easy, joyful opportunity that presents itself to you will be subconsciously rejected or sabotaged.
Because the easy opportunity violates the law of the foundation.
Exactly. The subconscious looks at the easy opportunity and says, this contradicts our foundational law that success equals pain. Abort. Your beliefs dictate the absolute unyielding limits of your reality. You literally cannot perceive or sustain an experience that falls outside the boundaries of your core beliefs.
They are the invisible boundaries of your playground. You can't experience anything outside the fence. Okay, the third attitude, and I think this one is fascinating because it is where a vast majority of people trip up. It is identity, or your mental attitude in the face of adversity. It is how you react when the pressure is applied.
This is the crucible. This is the ultimate, undeniable litmus test of your true frequency. It is remarkably easy to hold a positive visualization and feel a high vibration when you are meditating alone in a quiet, dark room with gentle music playing.
Anyone can do that.
But what is your mental attitude when the physical illusion pushes back? When the world tests the new barcode? You have to ask yourself a very difficult question. The version of you residing in your desired reality, the reality of complete abundance, unshakable peace, or massive success, how would that version of you react to a spilled cup of coffee?
Or an unexpected flight delay.
Or a sudden unforeseen bill in the mail?
Oh, this is such a brilliant, piercing question. I want everyone listening to really imagine this. Think of your ultimate goal. Now ask yourself, would the abundant, secure, profoundly peaceful version of you completely panic over a minor parking ticket? Would they view a minor traffic delay as a targeted cosmic conspiracy against their happiness?
It is highly unlikely. The version of you living in established prosperity or profound peace would likely brush off a spilled coffee as a trivial irrelevance. They might even laugh at it.
Because they're secure.
If you, in your current state, trying to manifest that reality, spiral into a deep victimhood over minor adversities, you are proving to the universe that your identity has not fundamentally shifted. You are still wearing the tight, uncomfortable mask of the person who struggles.
You're broadcasting the old barcode.
To align with the new reality, your identity, meaning your automatic, default, instinctual reaction to the friction of life, must perfectly match the person who already inhabits that desired reality.
You cannot just act the part when it's easy. You have to bleed the part when you're cut. You have to react from the end state. Okay, and the fourth and final, mental attitude, attention.
Attention is the focused beam of a flashlight in a pitch-black room. Whatever you shine it on, whatever is illuminated by that beam, grows in your perception and your reality.
So focus dictates expansion.
If your stated goal is profound, vibrant physical health, but your sustained attention is perpetually scrolling through medical articles about new, terrifying diseases.
Which people do all the time.
If you are obsessing over every minor bodily sensation as a symptom of ruin and focusing on everything that could possibly go wrong with the human organism, your attention is anchoring your frequency entirely to illness. You are feeding the reality of disease with the life force of your focus. Where you direct your sustained attention is where you direct your reality-creating power.
So, to successfully shift realities, to order the right package from the cosmic distribution center, we have to align all four. Our emotionally charged thoughts, our foundational core beliefs, our default identity reactions to adversity, and the unwavering beam of our attention.
They have to be synchronized.
When all four of those components are locked in and synchronized, we are broadcasting the exact unmistakable barcode of our desired reality.
Yes, that is the architecture of the frequency. But there is a final critical piece to this alignment protocol, and it is perhaps the most difficult to master because it is entirely counterintuitive to how most people approach the concept of manifestation.
This was the absolute aha moment for me when I was exploring these concepts. When we talk about true manifestation, about finally aligning with that dream reality, people naturally expect it to feel like fireworks.
They expect a massive adrenaline rush.
They expect this feverish, heart-pounding excitement, this constant high-octane buzzing of joy, like I'm finally rich or I finally found the love of my life. But the truth of how it actually feels is entirely different. It reminds me of a very grounded sensory analogy. Think about stepping into a comfortable, deeply worn-in pair of shoes.
Unpack that feeling. How does it relate to the frequency?
When you slide your feet into your absolute favorite pair of shoes, the leather ones that are perfectly, entirely molded to the unique arch of your foot, the ones you've worn 100 times, you don't gasp in awe when you put them on.
No, you don't even think about it.
You don't stand in your hallway, staring at your feet, vibrating with uncontrollable excitement that you were wearing them. You just put them on, tie the laces, and walk out the front door. You take them completely, utterly for granted. They are no longer an external object you desire. They are a natural, integrated part of your movement.
That is precisely it. The profound analysis of true detachment reveals that the ultimate, undeniable sign of manifestation isn't desperately staring at your desired reality from afar, hyperventilating with excitement. It is not manic joy. It is profound normality.
Profound normality. I love the weight of that phrase.
If you are deeply, truly, fundamentally aligned with a reality, you do not gasp in shock at your own breath. You expect it. When profound wealth or unconditional love or vibrant health becomes your true, stabilized frequency, it simply feels normal.
It feels mundane almost.
It feels exactly like slipping on those worn-in shoes. If you are constantly amazed, constantly tracking the progress, and overly excited about the mere idea of your desired reality, you are actually confirming to your subconscious mind that you do not possess it yet. You are treating the reality like an alien artifact, a rare museum piece, rather than a natural everyday possession.
Because you simply do not obsess over what you already securely own. If you own a couch, you just sit on it. You don't jump up and down celebrating the existence of the couch every evening.
Exactly. You must become completely, entirely independent of needing the external reality to change in order to feel secure internally. You embody the state of having it so thoroughly, so completely, that the eventual external manifestation in the physical world is just an afterthought.
It's just an echo.
It is merely a delayed, predictable echo of what you already fundamentally know to be true. You are no longer starving and staring through the window of the restaurant. You are satisfied.
This is such a monumental framework. We understand now that the universe is an impartial grid. We understand that our subconscious mind writes the localized laws through emotional imprinting. And we understand that our sustained frequency, comprising our thoughts, beliefs, reactions, and attention, is the barcode that selects our reality from the infinite distribution center.
We've mapped out the mechanics.
So, with all of this philosophical and mechanical weight established, I want to bring this directly back down to earth. Let's return to the very beginning of our conversation. Let's return to that late evening, the glass with the clinking ice, the earthy scent of smoke, the warmth of physical intimacy.
The initial challenge.
The listener's original burning challenge. Do these physical, earthly acts of enjoying sensory indulgence fundamentally disrupt this intricate energetic alignment? Do they lower the frequency?
We can answer that definitively, and we can answer it based on the strict mechanics we've established, rather than relying on archaic morality.
Okay, what's the verdict?
The act itself, the physical indulgence, the sensory pleasure, the enjoyment of the earthly realm, is fundamentally mathematically neutral. The universe, functioning as that indifferent electrical grid, does not possess a morality filter for your evening habits.
It doesn't care about the wine.
It does not care about the ice in your glass. The danger, the actual friction, and the potential for massive energetic disruption lies entirely and exclusively within the mind's ledger.
The mind's ledger. Okay, we need to open that book wide. How does this internal guilt mechanic actually function? Because every single person listening has felt it. We partake in the indulgence, we eat the cake, we pour the second glass, we sleep in late, and then the heavy, suffocating wave of regret washes over us.
It's like clockwork.
What is actually happening in the machinery when we feel that?
The subconscious mind is a meticulous, unforgiving bookkeeper. It observes absolutely everything you do, but more importantly, it observes exactly how you feel about what you do.
So it's watching our reaction to our own actions.
Exactly. If an individual partakes in an earthly indulgence, a glass of wine, a late night under the stars, a moment of deep physical pleasure, and they view that specific act through a lens of celebration, absolute presence, and gratitude for their physical body, the mind's ledger records pure harmony.
The barcode is safe.
The barcode remains intact. But if they partake in that exact same act and feel an immediate, heavy wave of regret, if they view the act as a moral failure, a weak escape, or a loss of personal control, they are actively, violently rewriting their internal laws in real time.
They're throwing a jagged gear into the smooth machine.
Yeah.
They're introducing the friction.
Precisely. They are initiating a devastating chain reaction of self-sabotage that directly and systematically attacks their core ability to architect their own reality. Let's walk the listener through this internal cascade step by step, because it is absolutely crucial to understand exactly how manifestation collapses from within, not from external forces.
Yes. Let's break down the exact sequence of the collapse. Step 1, the beginning of the end.
First, the physical act occurs, but it occurs against one's own rigidly imposed internal rules. You have consciously decided and declared, I shouldn't do this is bad for me, it lowers my vibration, but your physical vessel, driven by desire, does it anyway.
Okay, so the internal law is shattered. There is a fracture between what I said I would do and what I am doing. I am in cognitive dissonance. So what happens in step 2?
Second, because that internal rule was explicitly broken, the emotion of guilt arises. But we have to remember what we learned about emotion. Guilt is not just a bad mood, it is a highly charged, energetic signal.
It's heavy.
Guilt sends a very specific, undeniable message directly to the subconscious lawmaker. I cannot control my own actions. I am actively acting against my own stated will.
I am not the master of my own ship. I am a passenger to my impulses.
Right.
Which naturally leads us to step 3.
Third, this perceived lack of internal control diminishes a vital foundational internal resource. Self-trust. The mind's ledger records a massive deficit. It notes purely mechanically. We explicitly stated an intention, and we failed to execute it. We proved weak. Therefore, we cannot be trusted to follow our own directives.
And self-trust isn't just some fluffy, feel-good psychological concept, is it? It is a mechanical necessity for reality creation.
Which brings us to step 4. Fourth, self-trust is the vital energetic currency that converts directly into confidence. And we must define confidence correctly here. Confidence is not loud, arrogant bravado.
It's not bragging.
No. True confidence is the absolute quiet conviction in your own creative authority. It is the unshakable, bone-deep knowing that your internal laws command the external world. When self-trust diminishes because you keep betraying your own rules, your true confidence bleeds out.
You stop believing your own words, and if you don't believe your own words, why would the universe?
Yeah.
Which brings us to the final, fatal step. Step 5, the complete collapse.
Finally, without that total, unshakable confidence, the process of manifestation collapses entirely. The logic of the subconscious mind is brutally, undeniably straightforward. If you cannot even trust yourself to guide your own physical vessel through a simple, quiet evening without betraying your own internal rules, the subconscious assumes you cannot possibly be trusted to architect the boundless, infinitely complex universe around you.
It locks you out.
The creeping doubt corrupts the frequency. The energetic barcode becomes smeared and unreadable. And the reality you so desperately desire remains permanently locked in the cosmic distribution center, undeliverable.
This is a massive, paradigm-altering synthesis. I want to make sure this lands perfectly for everyone listening because this is the key to unlocking the cage. So the penalty, the thing that actually lowers your frequency, destroys your alignment, and blocks your desired reality. It is never the glass of wine.
Never.
It is never the earthly smoke. It is never the late-night intimacy or the extra hour of sleep. The universe does not care about those things. The penalty is exclusively the self-inflicted wound of shame.
That is the ultimate truth of the matter. The shame is the destructive force. The guilt is the poison, not the physical act.
If someone views these earthly indulgences as beautiful, grounding, profoundly necessary celebrations of their temporary human existence, if they partake with zero guilt, total unwavering presence, and profound gratitude for the sensory experience, their frequency remains completely immaculately aligned.
So you stay in harmony.
The universe receives a clear, ringing signal of joy, appreciation, and harmony.
But if they view those exact same physical acts as sinful failures, as undeniable evidence of their own spiritual weakness and lack of discipline, their reality inevitably descends to match that exact frequency of failure. They have successfully weaponized their own morality against themselves. They have built their own prison out of judgment.
It is the ultimate tragic paradox. By trying so desperately, so exhaustingly to be spiritually pure and feeling crushing guilt whenever you engage in perfectly normal, beautiful human moments, you are actually broadcasting the loudest possible frequency of failure and lack of control.
You're doing the exact opposite of what you want to do.
You are actively destroying your energetic alignment in the very name of trying to perfect it.
Which is why the traditional moralization of human habits is, as we boldly stated at the beginning of this exploration, entirely fundamentally backwards. It traps well-meaning people in an endless, draining cycle of forced asceticism, followed by inevitable biological indulgence, resulting in immense shame and ending in diminished reality control. It is a loop designed to produce suffering.
It is exhausting just thinking about living that way. No wonder so many people feel completely stuck despite meditating every day and reading every book. They're spending all their precious energetic currency fighting themselves in the dark over an evening glass of wine, instead of directing that immense currency toward architecting their desired reality.
We are the sovereign architects of our internal laws. That is the core realization, the absolute summit of this entire journey we've taken today. The universe is entirely blind to our moral hand-wringing. It does not read your diary of perceived daily sins. It only reads the frequency you broadcast through your unshakable beliefs, your emotional imprinting, and your level of absolute self-trust.
So as we wrap up this exploration, I want to address you directly. The person listening right now, who might still be holding onto the straps of that heavy backpack of guilt. I want to offer a broader, warmer reflection on what human potential actually looks like when you remove the fear. Because true spiritual mastery, true energetic alignment, is absolutely not an exercise in ascetic denial.
Not at all.
It is not a desperate race to escape the human condition, hoping to float above it all in some untouchable, emotionless bubble of pure white light.
It is, in fact, quite the opposite.
It is the courageous, beautiful act of fully, unapologetically inhabiting the physical world. It is being brave enough to enjoy its rich textures, its complex tastes, its deep, sometimes messy connections, the late evenings, the sensory beauty of simply being alive and breathing, all while maintaining absolute, unshakable authority over your own mind.
You can have both.
You are here to experience the friction of this dimension, not to constantly apologize for your presence in it.
And achieving that state requires a conscious decision to lay down the mind's ledger. It requires permanently ending the internal, exhausting scorekeeping.
Exactly. So I want to leave you with a quiet, paradigm-shifting question. Something for you to ponder the next time you find yourself in one of those beautiful, quiet moments of human indulgence we talked about at the start. Think about the raw mechanics we've uncovered today. Think about the impartial grid and the internal barcode.
If the physical reality around you is an exact, unyielding mirror of the laws you have accepted as true,
What would happen tomorrow if you simply finally stop passing judgment on your own joy?
what if you completely dismantle the archaic law that says physical pleasure equals spiritual regression?
What if you dare to accept the radical notion that absolutely everything you experience, every earthly delight, every sensory indulgence, and every quiet, normal human moment is actually propelling you forward? What if your humanity is the vehicle, not the obstacle?
It is a radical shift in frequency. It changes the entire broadcast.
It truly does. So tonight, when the relentless rush of the day finally surrenders, and you find yourself sitting in the quiet holding that glass, or feeling the warmth of the evening air on your skin, maybe, just maybe, let the ice clink. Let the moment exist entirely on its own, without the dark whisper of guilt creeping in behind it. Let it just be a perfect, normal, profoundly human part of the extraordinary reality you are actively building. Because it turns out the universe isn't out there judging your humanity. It is simply waiting for you to fully, confidently, and unapologetically own it.